Look no further, everyone. We have finally made it to the War of the Ring card game tier list. So we are going to be doing the shadow cards in this one. So that's the bad guys in layman's terms. I have played the War of the Ring board game for years. It's an awesome game. I think everybody agrees on that. The War of the Ring card game you could say is an awesome game as well. I don't know if I would always say it's an awesome game. I can definitely say that I've gotten a lot of fun out of it. I think I'm pretty good at it, and I've played a ton. I've played many games Against the Shadow. I have all the expansions. Played many games. I played tons of games with this. Haven't actually played that many with the Fire and Sword cards with actual real people, but I played a lot against the solo mode Against the Shadow or whatever. So here we go. All right, so this is all 90-ish cards for the Shadow. So let me just see how bad the glare is here. So let's see. Yeah, all right, so I'm leaving the sleeves on. Okay. So there's going to be a ton of cards here. Might be kind of hard to show all of them. S tier is going to be their most powerful card. F is going to be their least powerful card. Which battlegrounds they can go to. Essentially, everything will be taken into consideration. Which battlegrounds they can go to, which paths they can go to, how many symbols they have. I'm going to assume that everybody already knows how to play War of the Ring, the card game. So I'm not going to give too many details. This card is just very strong. This would be A tier for sure. Just, yeah. Super strong card, very versatile. You're pretty much never going to get attacked. But if you are, this guy can come and save you. The Lidless Eye. This card cannot be played or moved to a shadow battle or to a path if a shadow battleground is active. When played, you each of the shadow people draw one card. I'm also going to assume for this that you are playing. Well, typically, I'm going to assume that you're playing a 4-player game. This card gets even better when you're playing a 6-player game because there's 3 shadow players that would draw cards. But I think this card is essentially it can also increase your carryover limit, and it can go to path 9. But again, it's difficult to get to path 9. Often the free people will try to play around letting this be played at path 9, because I believe the mouth works the same way, if I'm correct. So yeah, I think this is just a solid B card. It's good for you. It literally just pays for itself, but your carryover limit doesn't normally need to be that large. I mean, I guess it pays for itself. It pays for itself. So I think we're gonna put it here for now. Anything that pays for itself is pretty much just guaranteed value. So it's a card you always want to play. So I think this is how we're gonna do it. S tier is like a card that you have to play, and that it's like 100% required. It's amazing. And A tier card is cards that you still probably want to play, but they aren't necessarily game breaking. B tier cards are just your average cards, many of which you would still play. C is a little bit niche, and then F is cards that just shouldn't exist and are horrible. All right, the Witch King. I think everybody knows how the Witch King works. He's just awesome. S tier for sure. The Beguiler. So the interesting thing with the Nazgul is they can go to every path except number 4, which makes sense. And then if in reserve, you may use your action and cycle this card, so each free people player must cycle 1 card from hand. This one can certainly be very helpful. You never want to kill your Nazgul super early unless they're just not the main important ones. Man, I think we're absolutely gonna run out of space. How do we do this? Well, honestly, let's just assume that people are familiar enough with the cards that we can just do it like this, Because if you're like me and you've played this game, you've played a ton. So we'll do it like this. Alright, Gorbag and Shagrat. These people are horrible. When played or moved to a path, you may cycle one card from your hand to add one corruption to this card, or add 2 corruption if it's Kirith Ungol. Yeah, this card's horrible. It can do pretty much nothing on defense. It can do a tiny bit on offense, but you have to pay so much to do it, unless you get super lucky and it happens to be the one path that he's really good at. Which, again, somewhat unlikely unless you combo with Golem. Maybe this one should even be lower, but I think we'll put it in C. Because you can actually combo it with Golem somewhat easily on Path 8 and get it to Kirith Ungol. I think we'll leave it in C. If Golem wasn't your friend, it'd be F. Mordor Orcs. This, I'm not going to include every single copy of every single card, so certain ones will just have one Mordor Orcs out here, essentially. But good card. You have to play it at some point, but not great for you. So, okay, Grishnak. Yeah, I don't love it. I also don't really love its ability. But you will typically see this card before you get to Path 6, and it does something for you. And there's also this mechanic, like it's in general, it's important for you to fight Path 6 if at all possible. So you want power there. This, honestly, no, I just, part of me was trying to get this guy to B. I can't get this guy to B. Grishnak is below average of a card. He gets a good symbol, yay, but he can only go to 2 specific paths, so just not the play. Nazgul Mantle. If the wielder is eliminated in combat, cycle this card along with any wielded items. So, this is where I think we get to the difficult part of this tier list. This card is amazing, and you would think that it would be S tier, but its power in and of itself, it doesn't add power to the actual combat, so you can abuse this card very hard and use it really well. But it's only good because of the cards that go with it. So I think the highest I can put this one is going to be A tier. Next we have the Reaver. Yeah, honestly, in order to keep this going, I think we're going to go a little bit faster. So this one is going to be A tier as well for similar logic to the Beguiler. The Commander. Yeah, this one's very solid. Being able to draw cards is just a great thing. The Destroyer. This one is just great as well. There's certain battlegrounds that you can't even participate in. And instead, if you have this, you are able to. The Messenger. I would actually say that this is our first just B tier card, because you have to play this unless you're fetching the Witch King. This card is too expensive for what it lets you do. And often you actually want the Witch King to be in play a decent amount. Of course, there's some things you can combo it with, like the Mantle, and push him out, and then activate a different path, and then get him back with this, and then play him again. There's some things you can do, but in general, I think he'd be B. The Ringwraiths are broad. Yep, just a great card. You can miss with it, which is the one problem. That's why I would put it in A tier, not S tier. Gothmog. This is one of the promos. Yeah, you don't want to kill the Witch King. If the Witch King's already dead, I guess this is a good makeup card. In general, you don't want to kill the Witch King, so I'd say this one's C. We've talked about this one already. Morgul Blade. Yeah, this is just another one that's just a solid card. it's neither here nor there. It's going to give you what you want as long as the free people can't advance the path. But if you're good at this game, you should be able to allow that not to happen before you can resolve this. The Hunter. The Hunter is actually going to be an S tier. Oh man, huh. Yeah, I guess let's just say it's more important for you to be able to attack the paths than it is for the free people to be able to defend the paths. Because if you don't do anything, the free people. So, like, essentially, this guy has the same ability as Sam. But Sam, you can also play a billion upgrades on, which make him really good. Where this guy, you pretty much can't play any upgrades on him, or in general, you just won't. So, Sam's obviously significantly better than the Hunter. But I think that for the Shadow, their requirements for S tier, like it's almost like the Shadow could have like an S tier, and then the free people could have like an S tier and then like a Omega tier that would be even better. But the Shadow cards just aren't that good. Grand, with that said, Grand is very good. He'll be S tier. And then Black Uruks. This is just another very solid card. This one's going to be A tier. The Black Easterling draws you a card, which is great. Can do a little bit of defense, but honestly, I normally just kill this guy off. He draws you a card, which is good. But I think he's A tier because he's a Nazgul. And there's many things that get you Nazgul. That's the logic. So if it looks a little ridiculous that I have so many A tier cards right now, maybe that's why. Is that the Nazgul, there's so many different ways that you can get them. So they're cards that you can play and come back and come back and come back. Trolls. Honestly, this one might seem like it's really good, but this one's just C tier as well. In general, you won't get attacked, so your extra defense doesn't matter. The Mouth. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, draws you another card every turn. I think this one's going to be S tier as well. Fell Beast. I just don't even like this card. I'm sure there's times that this is relevant and that you can play something to reserve and then they can think that they can activate something and then you can put this on it and do some shenanigans. I don't think I've literally ever seen this play off. I've probably played at least 100, maybe 200 games of War of the Ring card game. So, F tier. Because it has to go on a Nazgul, and in general, you don't want your... In general, I don't want my Nazgul to be going and fighting at battles unless they really have to. Okay, the Black Captain. This card is going to be S tier as well. We got to be getting pretty close to the end of Mordor here. Black Breath. If on a path or battleground, you may use your action cycle this card, its wielder, and any wielded items to add 1 corruption. This, I'm sure, is niche and can be helpful, but man, I am never happy when I see that card. F tier. Day Without Dawn. This is a great way to be able to play a bunch of stuff and go quickly. I think we can just say that this is another A tier card, though, because you can miss. You would only want to play this card when you were pretty certain you weren't going to miss, though, if that makes sense. So you need to be aware of what's still in your deck. Okay, the Warrior. Yep, Warrior's another one that's just averagely good. Neither here nor there. Black Rider's Mount. When played on a wielder in reserve, you may immediately move it to a path. This one, there's significant combo potential with the Mantle and the Witch King. But if you aren't maximizing that, this one's just B tier. Alright, we made it to Isengard. So, as you can see, Mordor is actually pretty solid. I might have been a little bit generous in some of these A tier cards. But they're cards in general that can come back over and over and over again, or what they do the one time is significant enough for them to be A tier. So, Woven of all colors. If he's eliminated, instead cycle him. So you might think that this one is A tier and therefore this one should be A tier, but this has like a billion people it can go on, and this has one. And also Saruman, he is a good character, but if you've already played all of his items, you don't really want to cycle him, or you don't want him to have to go in your discard pile, essentially. And sure, it can be helpful, but I think this one's just B. Wolf Riders. Yeah, I think anybody who has 2 attack is A tier for sure. Grima Wormtongue. A good way to be able to get Saruman. Doesn't do much other than that. Can do a little bit on the path. I would say he is just a B tier character as well. Ugluk. This one's solid. Because it can activate different path 6s for you. The problem with this deck theoretically is that there's a margin for opportunity, and if you don't hit this when you can, it loses all of its value essentially. So with that in mind, I think it has to go in B. Palantir of Orthanc. Man, this is a deck that you already go through very quickly. This makes you go through the deck significantly quicker. When I started playing this game, I would have said this was A tier. With how quickly this guy goes through his deck, I think it's B tier. Also, our play group has just shifted to more of a little bit slower of a play style, where you don't rush the pads as much, which maybe is just wrong. But I've been benefiting from the slowness, so we'll take it. Threats and Promises. This is going to be another S tier card. Saruman's Staff. Yeah. Decently good. I think we'll put this one... Honestly, I'm going to put this one in C tier. It is helpful, but if you don't have Saruman out, you can't play it. If you do have Saruman out, it's worth playing, but the benefit isn't helpful. It's just the symbols, really. I guess your carryover limit is important, but... Okay, Saruman is going to be S tier. White Hand Orcs. These guys are not awesome, but are required, so we're going to go with C. Another copy. Fighting Urukai. So before I said that... So I think this one... I put these other people in C tier, which have the same stats. But Orthanc, there's actually a decent chance it's going to get attacked. Especially... Yeah, there's a decent chance it's going to get attacked. So I'd say this one's B tier. Devilry of Saruman, S tier. Okay, card from Fire and Swords. This one is a Little Mischief in a Mean Way. Eliminate Saruman from reserve to add 2 corruption. Then the Hobbit player may cycle up to 2 Hobbit characters from play to remove 1 corruption for each one. I actually really like this card. I think that it's a really good way to be able to do something effective with Saruman on the last turn if there just happens to be nothing that he can do on his turn. So with that in mind, I think this one's going to be A tier. Let's see, can we still see that? Yeah, okay. And then Half Orcs and Hobbit Men. This one can go to a lot of paths and can go to pretty much any battleground. So it doesn't have any defense, but it has a lot of offense. It's a very good card, but it's only 1 attack. So with that in mind, it's going to be A tier. Alright, time for the South runs. Let's see, how are we going to do this? Might just have to shift these people over a little bit. Alright, this is going to be an A tier card. We've talked about why before, essentially. Coastal Raiders. So this is the crazy part. if in reserve, you may use your action to eliminate this card to activate Dull Amroth if it's in the Free People's Battleground deck. There are so few reasons for you to do this in the entire world, and pretty much you're never going to attack Dull Amroth. Yeah, so actually it might seem crazy, but I'm going to put this guy all the way down in F. Corsairs of Umbar. So this it might not make sense why I would do this, but I'm actually going to put this card in S tier, because if you ever get this, you are going to play it, you are going to eliminate it to activate Umbar. So it's essentially a one-use card that you will use every single game in order to give you one victory point, and it pays for itself because it draws each shadow player a card when Umbar comes out, and your opponent's pretty much never going to take Umbar. And it lets you get to your better cards later. So same with Harad. There's a bigger chance they can take Harad, but they'd still have to commit stuff, which normally they care more about Minas Tirith than your Scrub Battlegrounds. So okay, this one is going to be A tier, because typically where this guy will fight, typically where all of these people will fight if they aren't used for their ability, is Minas Tirith. He has a bonus on Minas Tirith. He can also activate Minas Tirith, which you don't want to often do, but it could be helpful. This one has extra attack on Pelargir. My memory is that Pelargir only has one defense, so this card could single-handedly take it if nothing else was there. So with that in mind, I don't think I can put it in A tier, but I think we'll put it in B tier, because they have so much defense. Gondor has so much defense of their battlegrounds that you still probably won't take it, but you can make them commit something. So I guess that's something. Often for you, it's better to... Trades are good for you if it's a one-to-one trade. Trades for the free people are bad because they don't have as many cards typically. If in reserve, you may use your action to eliminate this card to reactivate a Southron Battleground. This is solid. If they've taken one of your Scrub Battlegrounds, you can get it again, or you can make them have to take it again, even though it loses its shields. Or you can reactivate Minas Tirith. There's probably other things you can do with the expansion. But I still only think this is a B card. Okay. Another Fire and Swords card. The Last Stroke of Doom. Add 1 attack to a shadow army on a battleground. Then for every 2 armies of any faction, you may eliminate from your... Of any faction. You eliminate from your reserve. Add 1 attack more to the same army. Man, this card sucks. I'm sure that there's this is essentially a last turn card, but man, this card is bad. F. You would essentially need to hold this for the entire game or cycle it every single time and hope it doesn't get Forsaken, and then hope that you can use it. Yeah, it has to be you eliminate as well. So essentially it's so wasteful. Horrible, horrible, horrible card. A Giant Among the Swordings. When played, draw 7 cards. From these, take up to 1 Southron card into hand, cycle the rest. It stinks that it's not like Rohan where you get to play it. You just take it to hand, but we'll take it. I think that this is just a B card, though. Can only go to 1 path and can't do a ton. Okay, we made it to the monsters. Barrow-wights. Ability does pretty much nothing. Can be helpful early if you don't. Yeah, honestly, I feel like Forsaking is a mechanic that is very hit or miss, and the best free people cards, the best cards from both players don't get Forsaken even if they're on the top of the deck. This card is not complete trash. It can do something for you. So because of that, it's going to go in C. Hill Troll. Yep, very versatile. This is like the this is like the definition of your mid good card. The Balrog. S tier. Whip of Many Thongs. When played, draw one card. Essentially, it's an item that goes on the Balrog. This is a promo. This card's really good if you get it at the right time. It's actually very good if you get it at the right time, and you would totally play it. But because it's so niche, I think it would be C tier. Flax of Crebain. If on a path, you may use your action to activate a different path of the same number. This one is very, very, very good as well. S tier. Candles of Corpses. Extra attack on dead marshes. I wonder whether this should be A or B. At least your window in this one is later. I think it might sound crazy, but I think I'm going to put this one in B. I guess the only thing that makes this a lot better is 2 attack on dead marshes is actually pretty painful. So sorry, just to be clear here, this is B, this is A. No, there's a little bit of overlap, but Shelob. So this is the difference. The in reserve ability you really never want to use unless you just miss it. Shelob has a bigger window when she can come out, has the same effect essentially, and then when you play her, each free people player has to forsake 1 card, or 1 player move to a path essentially. So, very solid card. Cave Troll. This is another just very versatile card, just like Hill Troll. But given that it only has 1 attack or defense and everything, it's just going to be B tier. Okay, Caradhras the Cruel. Yeah, this one is like the definition of a niche card as well. Like if this happens at just the right moment, it's so good. But what are your chances of making it happen at the right moment? Because it has to be played. It can't just be that you have it in your hand and you do something with it. With that in mind, I think this one has to be B tier. Effect is very good. What it actually gets used for, not so good. This one, man, there's not that many places that you actually fight with these guys, at least until the expansion comes around. I think this guy is just going to be C tier. Another copy. Gollum, S tier for sure. Definitely your best card. Spiders of Mirkwood, plus 1 attack on the Woodland Realm. I think this one's just a solid B tier card. Seen it. Wolves. So yeah, so pretty much all of the characters that can't go to the late paths, they have this ability where you can forsake them. Or you can eliminate them so that the free people have to forsake cards. But as we said, you don't really want to use those abilities a ton. I think this is just another averagely good B tier card. Orc Chieftain. When played, you may take a Goblin of the Misty Mountain from your draw deck into hand. It's actually interesting that it's your draw deck, not Psychopomp. I think this one can just go B as well. Watcher of the Water. If on path 4, you may use your action to activate a different random path 4. But it doesn't matter too much that they're random because it's just a really good card. Or because all the path 4s are good for you, essentially. I don't think I can put this in A just because you need to try so hard to be able to get it to happen. Like if you just don't get it, you don't get it. Plus the free people can skip over path 4. If they go first, they can put Aragorn out, and then you won't have the ability, or Strider out, I guess, and you won't have the ability to do it. So, all right, we've made it to the Ruffians. Add 1 attack to a Ruffian army on a battleground, or add 2 attack to a Shadow army on Edoras or Helm's Deep. I don't know. I think let's say this one is C. Spies. If in reserve, you may use your action to cycle this card to examine the hand of the free people player of your choice. Yeah, I'm sure that in very highly competitive games, this one might be really good. We have not been able to maximize this at this point. It does do something, though. I think we'll put this one in C. Lost. Add 1 corruption to the active path. Then, if no free people characters are on it, you may activate a different random path of the same number. This one is going to be S tier for sure. That card's so good. Bill Farney. You may use your action to cycle this card so that the free people player of your choice must cycle 1 card from hand. Oh. You know how I said that trades were good earlier? Essentially, you're paying 2 cards to make the Hobbit player get rid of 1 card. Feels horrible. I would much rather have this dude die on path 2 if possible. F tier. Wildmen of Dunland can be played or moved to an Isengard battleground. This one actually is pretty versatile. A. Squint-eyed Southerner. When played, same one where you draw 7, take a Ruffian card in hand, cycle the rest. Yeah, this one's just going to be C tier. Hopefully you can still see that. That might be the last one we put there. Okay, Gathering of the Summons. This round, Southron, Easterling, and Ruffian armies may be played or moved any battleground. This card actually has some use cases. I would say this one is B tier. Dirty Thieving Ruffians. +1 attack on the Shire. From reserve, you may use your action and eliminate this card to activate the Shire if it is in the Free People Battleground deck. Honestly, the Shire is a somewhat low-stakes battleground, in my opinion. But I guess... Yeah, I think with that in mind, I gotta put this guy in C tier. He's so bad, he's making me make a new roll for him. Okay, Lotho Saxville Baggins. 1 attack on the one leadership attack on the Shire. If in reserve, you may use your action and cycle this card, so the Hobbit player must eliminate 1 random card from their cycle pile, then recycle their cycle pile. Yeah, so essentially this deck just exists, or this faction just exists to hurt the Hobbit player, which there is a point to. Man, but I just still don't love it. F tier. Ted Sandyman, or Ted Bundy as we call him. 1 attack on the Shire. If in reserve, you may use your action, cycle this card, so that the Hobbit player must forsake 1 card. These, you know how I talked earlier about how the monster characters have this ability right here, where they can be eliminated in order to make all the free people do things? Well, this is essentially just a significantly worse version of this that just targets the Hobbit people. These cards are horrible. To be fair, I wouldn't expect them to be as good as the Cave Troll thematically, but... Easterling Garrison, if in reserve, you use your action, eliminate this card to activate Rune if it is in the Shadow Battleground deck. It's going to be another S tier card. Hopefully you can see all these ones. Just for the... whoops, maybe I need to move you guys over. Just for the logic that it's a card that you want to play and then you want to use it because you want to activate your own battlegrounds. Many Kings to the service of Mordor. Draw 7 cards from these. Play up to 1 army from each faction, then cycle the rest. Yeah, this card is actually really, really, really good. this one would be S tier. If you're playing solo, this could get you one army from every single faction. Very unlikely. But you can actually hold it until you know what's going to be in your cycle pile and then do it. So, musterings of long planned war. Draw 7 cards, then forsake 1 card. Sorry, draw 4 cards, then forsake 1 card. I really like this card. Really like this card. I think we'll just put it in A tier though. Allies of Sauron. Sorry, we are also in the Easterlings now. I don't know if we said that. If in reserve, you use your action, eliminate this card to activate Dale from the Free People Battleground deck. I don't really want to do that most of the time. I would rather let Dale come out. So this one's going to be B tier. This card may be played or moved to Minas Tirith. This one's just a big old attacker, not a defender. Because he can't defend at all, I think we got to put him in B. And your Easterling armies or battlegrounds might actually be attacked, so that's why it's relevant. This one can go A. Easterling Commander, when played, draw 7 cards. From these, take 1 Easterling into hand. Cycle the rest. Yeah, I think I've been saying that these ones go in B tier. Yeah, so I think that still holds true. And then Variage of Khand. Sure, I got that wrong. This card may be played or moved to a Southron or Mortar Battlegrounds. This one's just a very versatile card that could be played a bunch of places. Because it's so versatile, I think it's going to go in B tier. Okay, we're getting down to the end of it. The Red Bannermen. If in reserve, you use your action, eliminate this card to reactivate any Easterling battleground. This is helpful as well. Any way that you can reactivate something that your opponent has taken of yours or decide that you want to fight somewhere, it's actually worth doing. So, I think this one might actually go into A tier. Whereas I think that we made this guy B tier, but this guy can actually be played to the path if you don't use him for his ability, so he's even better. Okay, Horde from the East. Add 2 attack and 1 defense to 1 defense to an Easterling or Mordor army on a battleground. Yeah, this one's solid. It's also an event, so your opponent's not really going to see it coming, likely. Very, very, very versatile. That's going to be a B tier. No, I think that we're going to put that a little bit higher. It's going to be A tier. The only problem with it is you have to hold it. You can't play it to reserve or anything like that. And you can't play the boost to someone in reserve either. So, Mirkwood Skirmishes. +1 on the Woodland Realm or Skirmishers. I thought we had this one already. Did we not have this one already? It's a different one. From reserve, you use your action, eliminate this card to activate the Woodland Realms from the Free People Battleground deck. This is just going to be another B tier one. Does something. Not the best thing, though. So, there we go, everybody. So, we have... Let's see what the spread is here. The most cards are in B, which makes sense. There's actually a lot of cards in A. Maybe I was a little bit generous in here. But essentially, if you are getting 2... If you are either getting 2 power, or 2 attack, or 2 corruption, whatever it is, you deserve to be in A tier. And if you draw cards, that reduces how much power you need to be in this tier. Also, there's certain abilities that belong in here. S tier is just all of the crazy, super good cards. Which there are many of. And then C tier is the cards you just don't really want to play most of the time or are very seldom to play. Then F tier cards are the cards that are just horrible and wish didn't exist. So if I was to say, I would actually say that it looks like the Mordor deck might be the best. Maybe I was a little bit too generous with the Nazgul, but I guess the Nazgul are really cool because they can disrupt your opponent and continue to exist. Whereas these right here, if you disrupt once, this card's going to go away. Yeah, so that is the tier list. Thanks for watching, everybody. The Free People one will be coming at some point.